Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris here, and I just finished watching the penultimate, next to last episode of Game of Thrones, as I'm sure pretty much everybody else watching this did. And I've got a lot of thoughts on it, as you probably do too. And I'll just sort of dive right into it. And if you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have some different thoughts or you agree, be sure to comment. And also, if you like the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do a review next week of the series finale, which I have some guesses on, again, as I'm sure you do as well. But let's just sort of dive right into it. I have mixed feelings about this episode. On the one hand, I loved the set pieces. I love the cinematography from a filmmaking standpoint. I thought it was really, really cool. Just the sheer carnage of what happened in the episode and the way they portrayed that made the viewers feel, I think, like they were sort of in the middle of it. I mean, as we sort of maybe anticipated based on what happened at the conclusion of last week's episode, Daenerys decided she had just had enough, and she basically torched all of King's Landing, right? You saw women and children at one point being lit up and murdered. The Dothraki soldiers and the Unsullied, everybody was just going after everybody. There was sort of a brief standoff there for a minute where you thought, once the bell started ringing, that, yeah, this is going to play out well. Maybe Jon and Dany can rule together. Maybe she's going to demonstrate that she is the breaker of chains, that she wants to do what's best for the people. But her Targaryen tendencies really shine through, and she just went bananas and killed everybody, essentially. I, from a plot point perspective, didn't really have a big problem with that. I think they set up really clearly that she was headed on that trajectory, especially in the past few episodes. And when Missandei was beheaded last week, I think that was just really the tipping point for her, more than anything else. But you can see too, though, that Jon now really gets what Arya and Sansa were saying, and you can see that as we get into this final episode, he knows probably what needs to be done. And my prediction, and you have to forgive me, I'm just kind of spitballing all over the place here, but my prediction, as I think a lot of other people have predicted, is that Arya, being the one that was kind of at ground zero, or one of the people at ground zero, and seeing everything that happened, knows that Dany has to die. She cannot be left to rule. She's a tyrant. She's demonstrated that. She just cannot stay on the throne for more than a handful of days, maybe, or a few minutes. We'll see how much time has passed since the next to last episode. But Arya, I think, is going to get someone's face, is going to get close to her, and ultimately is going to kill her, and then reluctantly Jon is going to take on the throne and sort of be the ruler that everybody thought he could be and knows he can be. So I think that's where this whole thing's headed, as a lot of people probably think at this point, and that makes sense. Another thing that I really liked about this episode a lot was the Hound versus the Mountain. I think that was handled really well. I like that they really portrayed the Mountain as being sort of an unstoppable killing machine. He was sort of Terminator-esque in the way that played out. And he almost pulled a Prince Tyrell on the Hound when he started to crush his eyes. But ultimately, the Hound knew what he had to do and sacrificed himself and finally took out the Mountain. And that was a cool battle that had been building up for the whole show, and it was really cool to see that come to fruition. I thought they handled that actually really well. I like that part of it. What I didn't like, like a lot of other people, I think I just hated the way that they killed Cersei. I thought that was really stupid, just given how the whole episode, or the whole show really had been building toward her demise and removal from the throne, and they had made her one of those characters you just love to hate. I don't know if it was on the same level for a lot of people as someone like Joffrey, but I really thought we were going to get some kind of public execution or something just a little bit more with a little more punch to it than what happened. The roof collapsing on her was just, to me, not satisfying at all, and I was really disappointed that they went that route with it. As far as Jaime goes, he, demonstrated that some people just never change. The fact that Euron Greyjoy essentially killed him, even though the roof collapsing also killed him as well, was able to best him. I didn't have a big problem with that. I was kind of hoping maybe he would be the one to kill Cersei as everybody else was, but he just went out in a really bad way, and I just did not like that character resolution for that arc. Again, you could make the argument that it just demonstrates that some people never change, and that's just who he was, for good, bad, and ugly, and he went down being who he was, but I just didn't like it. I didn't think it really meshed well with everything they had done with him up until that point in the show, so I was not really thrilled with the way that played out. Him and Cersei basically cowering beneath the Red Keep and the roof collapsing on them. So overall, again, I think it was actually a good episode from a lot of different perspectives, from cinematography, from battle set pieces, just from the sheer carnage that was on display, and seeing Dany kind of take on that mantle as a Mad Queen. But beyond that, I think there were a lot of problems with it. I do think the finale is going to tie up everything really nicely. And again, I think we've got a good sense of probably what's going to happen with that, and there may be some more satisfaction that comes out of that. But I think at this point, it's going to be hard to really salvage a lot of what fans wanted out of the show, because of the way things ended with Jaime and because of the way things ended with Cersei. So a little disappointing with that. We'll see what happens in the finale next week. But let me know what you think about it. Did you like the episode? Am I off base at all with anything here? Is there anything else that I didn't comment on that you would like to see some thoughts on or some feedback on? But let me know what you think. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned next week for my review of the final episode. Thanks for watching.